There we go. There we go. Let me get this up off here, man. What's up, man? Look who it is. Tyvis Powell done pulled up. He told me the other day, he said, G Bush, you be playing around, dog. You don't be having me on like that.
I'm just saying.
And look, here you go. Here you go, dog. What's up, bro?
Hey, man, I had to come bless this one time, man. I've been on the radio version, but I ain't never got a chance to do it virtually on the internet. You know what I'm saying? For the fans, for the people. This is where we can spit that real spiel,
Yeah,
just
the real talk.
The chat between just me and my dog, my OG.
Listen, it's gonna be a fun one, man. Make sure before we even start, just hit that like button. Stop playing around with it. 38 people in here. We should at least have 38 likes. Tyvis, obviously, this weekend was a tough one. We're gonna get to a lot of things. We're gonna get a lot of things. We're gonna get your thoughts on the Browns loss to the Broncos. Yeah, and Myles Garrett apparently hurt a pop in the shoulder.
Yeah,
that's not good at all. Like right now, it's about 3:00 here, Eastern Standard Time. But they are in LA, so they should be talking about 4:00. If any breaking news happens, we will break it here and give you an opportunity to see what's going on with Myles' shoulder, MRI going down with that. Also, what better person to talk to than this man Tyvis Powell? Denzel Ward, you were sorely missed yesterday.
Yeah,
my brother. I'm sorry for the disrespect, but good gracious, we're going to talk a little bit about how the game plan changed for the Cleveland Browns, because I saw a lot more zone. The game didn't seem much more aggressive, and like you said, be careful what you wish for. When the darts was thrown at Denzel back in the day, he was like, "Nah, don't play no games."
I kept telling, listen, everybody like MJ Emerson, we still got G New. It was people, we should trade Denzel last season. And I'm just like, listen, when you get you a number one corner, you never let go of that number one corner, because if you don't have them, you will see how hard it is out there. And my boy G New had a tough day, man. But I'm not making no excuses for him at any rate, but it is a different game from playing nickel and playing that outside. It's two totally different game plans when you out there, and he found that out yesterday.
We're gonna dive into that. We're gonna get into that, and of course, we got to get to it. Tyvis Powell's reaction to the Buckeyes loss.
We got to do that. We got to do
that. Steve was blowing the chat up today. Nobody was paying him attention. Superstars, producer Steve in Atlanta was going crazy in the chat. It was just him and his Android going crazy. Bro, he had a long text string. We talked about it a little bit. Actually, we had some back and forth about Ryan Day and what's going on. I mean, we had Bull talking about he got to go. Jason Lloyd was jumping off the porch. It was the first time I done seen Jason Lloyd and Jay go at it about Ohio. It was crazy, Tyvis. We got to get to that. To that.
It was. I'll tell you what, bro. I done heard from all the alumni.
I know you did. Everybody, text messages is on fire. If I could steal your phone right now, the stuff I was seeing there swiping left. Oh my goodness.
Man, my phone was blowing up, man. It's like y'all act like I'm in charge or something.
Like you was calling the play.
Right.
Like, what happened, Ty? What's going on? You like, listen, I ain't been here in a while.
Man, it's a shame. That's just all I can say about right now. It's really a shame. I mean, just the simple fact that you lost to an interim head coach, man. And then I'm starting to read, obviously as the days go on, more stories come out. They's talking about how. Okay, so let me just dive right into it. My one issue with Ryan Day and this rivalry is he changes things up. Like for example, so last year they got rid of senior tackle. They was like, we're gonna move senior tackle and we're gonna do it during bowl practice. And I'm just like, we just want to be 100% locked in on beating the team up north. And when I heard that, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I've been there. we went 4-0 and we didn't change anything. So I don't understand. If you got to be that much more tapped in, like, then that's a problem. You should be good to go by this. It's the last game of the season. You should be good to go. Everybody should have a routine down. You should be able to know what you're supposed to know about the team and whatnot. I don't think you really need all the extra stuff. There shouldn't be any extra motivation because you should already be motivated enough to win the game. But I let them do their thing. I'm on the outside looking in. I can't really say anything. So they go last year. Obviously, last year happened and it didn't help. This year, during the collective stuff, I kind of reached out, not to him,
Right.
to just the coaching staff, because we had these, the collective had these Ohio against the world, like, crew necks and hoodies and stuff. So I was just asking, one of the guys in there, to, ask these coaches, can they retweet this, and stuff like that. He said, he said, Tyvis, I've been given a strict order. We can't bother no coaches. Everything this week is all about beating the team up north. I said, I respect that. I respect it. So I fell back. And again, you see what happens. So it's just like you close them off from the outside world to get them to lock in. And we're not seeing no results. If you get back when I played, if you made us close off the world, we probably went 100-0. Right, went 100-0. So I just don't understand what this extra stuff is. And then obviously, you see, like I said, more stories is coming out. It's all about, Coach Ryan Day's talking, or not Ryan Day, Kyle McCord is basically up there talking about, he's like, you can't make mistakes in this game. He's like, y'all should not make any mistakes in this game and stuff like that. And he goes out there and he's the one making the mistakes. So it looks like how do you get to this game and you don't let everything rip? Like, if you're talking about you should be worried about making mistakes, like, obviously you're gonna play a little passive, you're gonna be a little hesitant. To where when I played, the message was let it rip. If you make a mistake, it better be 1,000 miles per hour. You should be all gas, no brakes the entire game. So I just think it's funny that you get up in that moment and you tense up. It's like y'all tensed up against them. Like, y'all been, and I'm tired of watching them beat down these teams that they supposed to beat down. But then when you get to the teams that's on the same level as you, y'all start playing tight. And I don't understand that. I don't
Talking that talk now.
Yeah, playing loose is what gets you up. Don't be scared to call certain plays. Like, there should be nothing else you should hold on to. This is like the Super Bowl. Like, you haven't beat them in 2 years. Like, run whatever you need to run. If it's trick plays, whatever you think you have to do, you should be able to win this game. And I just thought it was past. We taking field goals. We not going for it on fourth down in their territory. I thought the defense let up we let a tight end, just multiple tight ends,
just
like they freaking Tony Gonzalez out there. I'm like, what's going on? So it was frustrating to watch.
Let me get to this. What do you see when you played under Urban Meyer, right? And there's levels and there's differences to it. See, y'all, people complain about that Urban Meyer stuff and all. Listen, Urban Meyer, different type dude. He not playing around with y'all like that. Mm-hmm. If anything, you was more scared of Urban Meyer than you was of losing to Michigan. When you watch the two different levels at which y'all play, there was times when Urban Meyer was on the sideline, there was no consideration of Michigan ever being in that game. Yeah. And you can't tell me that if Urban Meyer's on the sideline looking across that whole field, 53 and a third, and he sees an interim head coach, do you know what type of edge he gonna play with? Like, what is the difference and why is it that it just doesn't feel like the same type of environment with this matchup?
You know what it is? I mean, it has a little bit to do with football in general today, with the style of coaching that you have to take, not just in football, but with all of them. This generation is totally different. There's certain things that you can't do or say that you maybe could do or say back when I was playing, So it's just a totally different thing. I think the biggest difference to me between Ryan Day and Urban Meyer is this. From the first day on the yard. So my first day on campus was Urban Meyer's first day as head coach. From day one, that man came in there and he laid the law down. Like, it's my way or the highway. Like, there ain't no, I ain't trying to be your buddy right now. I need you to respect me first. And I think with Ryan Day, it's just more of I want to be your friend. I want you to like me and stuff like that. Like, and I think that at some point, if you have a guy that's a coach that's laid the law down military style, you're gonna fall in line. Like you're not even gonna try to test the waters because he looking for somebody to make an example out of. Where if a guy is your friend, maybe you'll be like, let me see if I can get away with this. Like that to me was never even a thought in my mind. Like I'm about to try to see if I can get away with doing something like that. Like I don't think that, and I think that today, like that's the thought. Like I'm gonna see how far I can push this envelope and stuff like that. So I think to me, that's the biggest difference. And obviously, I always say, Ryan Day as a man and as a coach, he genuinely like cares about his players. That's one thing I do respect. He cares about his guys. Not to say Urban didn't, because Urban did a lot of things behind the scenes to make sure that you were successful, even if you didn't do it football wise. But with Ryan Day, I think he actually ultimately cares about like your mental health. He cares about your family. He cares about stuff like that. Whether you a starter or whether you the last man on the roster, I think he treats everybody pretty much the same. And I respect him for that. However, I think that I still don't think you can win a lot of games like that. I just think that's just my personal preference. But he's easy to root for, and I always cheer for Ryan Day because of the person that he is. You want to see a guy that's a good person, that's ultimately a good dude succeed, and that's just how he has a lot of people thinking.
Listen, this matchup. And once again, man, we appreciate you guys out there. 240 people in the building. Tyvis is in the chair right now in the barbershop making his debut, we'll get to some of the Browns things coming up as well. But really quickly, let me ask you this question. It comes down to the brass tacks. When you talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes, I went to OU. Reality of the situation is Ohio State, they put the in front of it for a reason. They get all the listen. If you go outside and we call it the jersey, if they got that scarlet and gray on, it's a wrap. You're not getting no girls for the night. You're not talking to nobody. They get all the Nike uniforms. They got unlimited gloves, whatever the case may be. It's Ohio State. They pay you big time bucks to beat Michigan, win Big Ten championships, and win national championships. It's Alabama and Ohio State. I could argue Texas is in that mix. I don't think Clemson is quite in that mix either. Is this enough for him to keep his job if he can't beat Michigan? If you can't win, there's 3 in a row, bro.
So this is what I'll say about that. Just hearing the alumni and hearing what everybody's saying. No, everybody is pretty much on board for it. They got to make the change. Like that's where I think everybody's at.
That's what the
I think
tea leaves are saying.
I think every former player, and every alumni is probably on the like they got to make a change. However, I'm 29 years old. I'm more of I like to assess the whole situation. I don't just look at it as one game. This man still got the number 2 recruiting class. Okay. If you fire this man, do you lose those recruits as well? Because that's a problem. That's a huge problem.
Especially this junior Maserati Marv is supposed to be Jordan himself coming out here to Marvin Myers, his brother.
So I'm like, that's the thing. So if you fire Ryan Day, it affects the recruiting class. It affects everything going forward. Now, if you ask those recruits, like, hey, whether Ryan Day is here or not, would y'all still come here? If the answer is yes, then I think that makes it different. I don't think he gets fired after this season. I don't. I think that because then on top of that, now you're bringing in a new AD, and now you putting his first job is to find a new head coach. So I think that's a lot on the AD's plate, the first job, so I think he's gonna make it this season. I think his seat is hot as ever. I think if he ultimately loses next year, it's over with. Like I think that before he even make it back to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, he's probably fired at that moment. So he's got to figure it out. He's got to figure it
out. Listen, we gonna get to your comments and what you guys got coming up, but first, coming back. We're gonna switch gears a little bit. We're gonna get into this Cleveland Browns game. Bad day all around from the state of Ohio. Buckeyes lose to Michigan. We're gonna delve into this situation with the Cleveland Browns. They lose with the Broncos. We'll get Tyvis's thoughts on the game from yesterday, breaking that down, and we'll start to do that coming back next. It is the Barbershop here on the UCSS YouTube channel. And like I always say, man, what is a barbershop without a barber, man. Call my people, man. If you're in the state of Ohio, if you're around here in Northeast Ohio, call my man Jason at Phenomenal Barbershop to book an appointment today. 216-385-8861. Address is 11827 Detroit Avenue, Lakewood, Ohio 44107. It is the premier place to go talk sports, talk football, talk a little Buckeyes, talk about a little Browns, and guess what? It's family friendly. No cursing. They don't do a lot of that extra stuff. They talk about just game, but you can go get your hair done. You can get your kids' hair done there. And they even have a beauty salon too. So your wife can go get her situation together and y'all can go on a date afterwards, possibly. But if you're going to do it, if you got to get you a cut, you got to be phenomenal. Go to Phenomenal Barbershop, a proud sponsor of the Barbershop. All right, Tyvis, we back at it again. Welcome back to the Barbershop. G. Bush in the building. Tyvis Powell, world-renowned Tyvis Powell, I would say. He works on the Big Ten Network. He's part of a collective. He rubs shoulders with Archie Griffin. He's on UCSS. He has a podcast in Columbus. He has a radio show in Columbus. And did I mention he's part of the Cleveland Browns radio network? This dude is everywhere, bro. I mean, he got more jobs. He got jobs. But they say on Living Color, he is Jamaican.
That's right.
Right? If you remember the reference, you gotta have 96 jobs.
Listen, Kevin Gates got this song called "I Don't Get Tired." I feel like I'm doing it a disservice because I only got 5 jobs. I'm trying to get 6.
You got to see people don't be understand. That's why when I be telling young dudes, Tyvis, and this is all jokes aside. Young dudes hit me up all the time and be like, G. Bush, how do I get on? And you be wanting to be like, I whisper to them the same way they whisper to me. Like I said, you got to be on the internet. You can't get on if you got one job. See, you can't just pull up and be like, I'm on UCSS. You got to be like talking into the darkness. You got to have a podcast or something. You do a blog. Come on now.
Listen. Everybody be asking me, like, how can you help? I'm like, listen, the first thing you need to do is you need to get a podcast or some type of talk show, and you got to put it out on the internet. Obviously, you got to get some. I mean, some people plugged in. You get the right guest on there, and they say the right thing. That thing take off. Now more people tapping into your podcast and stuff. It's a lot of ways to be, to make it in this sports media world. That's why early on for myself, I was just getting on everybody's stuff. He
was on every mixtape.
They hit me. I felt like Lil Wayne back in the day. I'm like, listen, I'm about to get on it and I'm about to murder every episode.
No ceilings. On everything. Like this dude was swag surfing. I'm like, dang, bro, he on something. See, but that's the thing. I respect it because what'll start to happen is you start to see other people doing stuff and you be like, oh, listen. Like when you feel like you don't want to do it, like after a post-game show, I'm like, no, I gotta get on here and do 2 post-game shows. See, like people just be like, you can't be Jay Crawford. Look, Jay Crawford had already made his money.
Jay is good. He on this boat.
Good. What you doing? Jay ain't gotta show up today on Saturday. He on the boat. Like, no, listen. Hey, we got to overcharge them for what they did to the Cold Crush. We got to charge them. I'm sorry, bro. We're going to get into this game. We're going to get into this game. And, I'll say this. Now, we don't get to that first. We'll get to this. Let's get to your initial thoughts on the Cleveland Browns loss to the Broncos. For me, I was on a barbershop, Tyvis, and you don't see, like last year when I thought they did a gentleman's punt on the game, I was mad. For me, what I'm starting to see and what I see here is this. They got so many people out. They're behind the 8 ball. There's so much room, there's little room for error. Anything that happens during the game is going to be something that is important, that is going to keep you from winning football games. I didn't like the game plan. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought you should have ran the ball a little bit more. We know how that goes. Mm-hmm. But I had a theory. I just felt like Stefanski was like, look, I got DTR. If I'm going to make any sort of playoff run, if I'm going to get to where we go, because I can't limp down the finish line, you're going to have to go and beat people. So if I got to go beat somebody, I got to figure out what this guy does best. And the best way to do it is to give him the full playbook, see what he got. I could put the training wheels on him and hope we squeak out a win, but I don't see us doing that down the backstretch. So let me give him an audition to see if he got what it takes, or if I need to move to Joe Flacco sooner or later. What was your thoughts on the game plan and overall, in general, how the Browns move with DTR?
Well, obviously, you remember in the offseason, we watched. He did that part of my take interview, and he was talking about nowadays you got to throw to open up the run, and
Yeah.
I was like, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I understand what he's saying. And when people look at this, obviously coming into this game, Denver was like the worst rush defense in the NFL. And I think that his problem is that he don't, and I thought he was better at it. I thought it was times at the beginning of this season where he kind of took his playbook and just threw it to the side and just did what works. I think he fails to do that in certain situations. You going out there, Jerome Ford had 9 carries for like 65 yards or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's averaging 7 yards a pop. I mean, running the ball. I mean, that's the obvious thing to do. Even when it was 12-17, you could go out there and still run the ball. At the beginning of the fourth quarter, I think it's 12-17. That they're not really good at running or stopping the run, and you having some success there. And I think Jerome Ford actually was looking for that lane. He get one more block, he sprung free, and I think he got what it takes to take it to the house. So obviously, I want him to run more, but with DTR, you're right. You got to find out what you got in DTR. I mean, at the end of the day, like, you got a little security blanket with Joe Flacco, because Joe Flacco beat you last year. So he's still got a little bit left in the tank. But everybody knows that the ceiling of DTR could be unbelievably good, and you got to get this guy some confidence. I think that's the one thing. We know, I at this point, I think he knows he can play in the NFL. I think he wants to figure out, can he be a superstar in the NFL? That's the thing that he's trying to figure out right now. And the problem is, his receiving core is not doing him any favors. Did you notice
At all?
Did you notice that the only person that can catch the ball from him consistently is Cedric Tillman? You know why? Because Cedric Tillman played with him in high school, so Cedric Tillman know the type of heat that he's throwing. These other dudes got to get on board. They need to turn the jug machine up and understand this dude whipping the ball. Yeah, it's coming high. It's a lot of mustard on it. Make sure you catch it. I mean, he's putting the ball in place. That's 2 weeks in a row that David Njoku dropped a touchdown. That was an absolute dime. The man threw a dime to this man. He ain't doing him no favors. And David Njoku, don't get me wrong, David Njoku works hard. I mean, he was on the jug machine all week last week. And I think he will get it situated. He has to, because for some odd reason, DTR loves David Njoku. He gives him the most targets for the past 2 weeks. This man got to figure it out. And with the injuries that's coming around, y'all can't afford to make mistakes over the course of a game. It's unfortunate to say that, but you guys got to be dang near perfect from here on out, because guys is starting to get banged up.
And listen, we talk about Myles Garrett being banged up. We talk about Denzel Ward coming up. Amari Cooper he looked like he got his soul lifted.
Listen,
there's a lot of guys. Anthony Walker. Anthony Walker looked like it's a lot of dudes out. And so for me, you got to catch those, to be truthful, bro. You got to catch them. And it's time out for this. Oh, it's my bad.
It's enough of that. Like, bro, this is for David. This is 2 weeks in a row. Like, dude, you said you was gonna fix it. You even called him and said, "That's on me. I gotta be better." All right, at some point, you got to stop saying it and put it to action. Like, I have to be better. And the shocking part was, like, when the Coop dropped the 2-point conversion, like, yeah, he dropped the 2-point conversion play, and that's unlike him. But I don't think people understand the significance of that. You got a chance. I think at that time, what was it? A tie? That would have tied the game up, right? Or made it a 3-point game, one of the two. Like, that drop was big. Like, it take a lot of energy and momentum out of the game. You get that, and you got us in a either a 3-point game or a tie game. Like, it changes the whole mindset of everybody.
Whole
on the
setup.
team. And it's like I say, it's the little things that's on the field. That little 2-point conversion at that moment, it didn't seem like a lot, but it was very monumental to this team.
Listen, I liked what DTR gave you. One of the things that we looked at with DTR was the fact that when you do put a young guy out there, You are exposing him to more hits. You are exposing him to some stuff. You are playing with a left tackle that, is off the street almost. You're playing with a right tackle. DeJuan Jones is injured. And guess what? He's not even starting this year. We forget he's a rookie. When you look at what the Browns do best, I just think sometimes, Tyvis, it's almost like the Browns are a smash mouth run team, right? You're a smash mouth run team, right? Mm-hmm. Sometimes they just don't look in the mirror and say, look, we would like to run some of these things because they told us this playbook was going to be different, and it hasn't. They thought Elijah Moore was going to be a difference maker. He hasn't.
Hey,
sometimes
he shows up. He show up in the fourth quarter, though, don't he?
I don't understand it, man.
I don't either. That man go 3 quarters chilling, and in the fourth quarter, he just get all kind of separation. It makes no sense.
The Browns is like this. You know how it is. You know how it is being a sneakerhead, right? Mm-hmm. Actually, to be truthful, a lot of people don't get this. Like, you can't be married and be a sneakerhead. Sneakerhead.
That's a lie. That's a lie.
Listen, you got it. Look, here's the thing. If you go to the crib and you be at the crib and you just say, look, hey, 3 pair of J's just came out. I need all 3. If your wife catches whiff of all 3 and she try to plead or bargain you down to only 1 pair, you can't be a sneakerhead because the price is raising next week. Prices raising next week. They drop today. You paying a premium for them tomorrow, especially if you wear big shoes like me.
That's a fact.
So the Browns, I'm looking at it like this. If you don't run this rock now, and you trying to run it later, there's a premium on them runs. You might be down.
This the thing, though. This the part that makes a little bit of no sense. But, like I said, I'm not a coach. So he do what he do. I ain't gonna, that's his lane. But from a outside looking in person, the weakest link on your offensive line is what? Your 2 tackles. Whether you got one that you just got on Halloween and then the other one, y'all literally rotate.
Never seen it.
In the court, I've never seen it either.
Platoon tackles?
Literally rotate the right tackle spot over the course of the game. I don't think you should put them in that many passing situations. Like, don't get me wrong. This is a quarterback league. If you got a good quarterback and that's who's ultimately going to win you a lot of games is your quarterback play. But your guards and your center is the only people that's been there from week 1 to today. They have the best chemistry. They understand how to get to the second level. They understand what they need to do, how much I need to chip on this dude, then I can push off. The chemistry is there. You need to install whatever that trap play that the Broncos was running on us. We need to install that expeditiously. Maybe not against the Rams because Aaron Donald will eat it up. But after that, yeah, it should be in the playbook and it should be a check with me type thing because that play was really good. And I think that's the strength of your offensive line at this current moment.
Man, listen, the guards is playing their souls out right now. But you're right. You brought that up. There's 3 things before we get to break that I've never seen. I've never seen the backup quarterback / backup tight end sneak play. Listen, Kev, I've told you.
Listen, I'm not mad at that though, because that, you know what, that's one of the ones that eventually it was going to happen, but they had so much success. Like who would have thought that moment that would happen?
I mean, it's like I'm trying to figure out if Harrison Bryant, if he has incriminating photos on Stefanski, if he's his brother-in-law, is he married into the family? Like, did he do one of your term papers while you was in Ivy League school? Because I'm confused. He gets the most tick without any, I'm like, wow, who would think? Let's put Harrison Bryant in there.
You do know that this man was like a Mackey winner in college, right?
I do. But then he lost all of that.
He scored the only touchdown DTR throw.
We ain't seen.
He caught it. How about that?
And he was surprised he caught it. You see how he took that thing away? He was like, oh, snap.
He definitely tucked it.
Oh, snap. Oh.
I said, that boy got some heat on that ball. I'm telling you.
He had that spicy Parmesan on that ball, bro. This cat is not playing. Y'all better get on the jugs. This dude DTR is breaking fingers out here. You remember how Mike Vick used to throw the rock? Mike Vick will throw a rock. He'll put the ball Mike Vick was breaking people's fingers throwing the ball with a flick of the wrist.
Right there.
Wow.
You be 5 yards away. He'd throw it like you 100 yards away. Wham!
Take something off. Take something off here, bro. A little something, man. Speaking of take something off, when we get back, we're going to get to another topic, man. We'll come back. We'll talk about what all y'all want to hear. Y'all saw the thumbnail. Myles Garrett. I don't have any inside information on it, but when people start talking about Pops, I don't like none of that, man. We'll come back and discuss what a big problem that is if Myles Garrett is gone for a substantial point of time. It's G. Bush, it's Tyvis in the barbershop, and we on the UCSS network. And let's talk about this. Let's talk about my people at Great Lakes Honda West out in Elyria. The barbershop is always sponsored by Great Lakes Honda. Go out there and tell them your boy G. Bush sent you. And yes, do tell them that. Don't come out here looking crazy. Get that discount for your boy, man. And let's talk about this. They got a first-time buyer program. Everybody knows it's difficult getting out there when you're trying to start your credit, trying to do some different things, and you may not got the best credit. You may not even have established credit. If you have nothing past doing your credit and provable income, you could pull off in a brand new 2024 Honda. That's right, 2024 Honda. All you got to do is go get the oil change in these joints. Hondas keep their value. They run forever. And boy, oh boy, they got some great stuff on the showroom. Go out there. When you get out there, Sullivan Rogers is the man. That's the name. That's the guy you want to pull up on. Tell him G. Bush sent him. Sullivan Rogers is the guy. If you got bad credit, bankruptcy, slow play, they are the place to go. Great Lake Honda's West in Elyria, and go get and talk to my man Sullivan Rogers. He's that guy. All right, Tyvis Powell back in the building, man. We're going over a lot of stuff. Talked a little bit about the Buckeyes. If you catch it on demand, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. 374 in here right now. Talking to the Buckeye legend. Tyvis, we got into the situation with the injuries. DTR got knocked out of the game. He was looking crazy. And we take a look at not only DTR, a lot of Browns is actually out here injured, but the big one that we talked about and we kind of teased it in the beginning was your boy Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett looked like he was compromised a little bit. Myles Garrett also, didn't have the impact. I was looking for those splash plays. I was looking for the get off and give the Broncos credit. They did whatever good team was going to do. They're going to double. They're going to chip. They're going to make sure he's out there and he's fighting through 3 or 4 people even to get to Russ. But he just didn't look right. He injured his shoulder, the same one he had in the car accident. And according to Mary Kay Cabot, she talked to Myles and his arm was in a sling. And he said he just felt a pop. They got an MRI ready to go out in Los Angeles. They're going to stay on the West Coast trip. But if Myles Garrett can't play, we've lost Nick Chubb. We done lost Deshaun Watson. You lost Jack Conklin. You lose Jedrick Wills. Anthony Walker is down. Denzel Ward, which we will get to here in a second. But man, oh man, this seems like one of them injuries that you can't sustain, especially given what Myles Garrett means to this defense. How big of a loss is this if he's out for a substantial period of time, Tyvis?
If Myles is out, it's. I'm not going to say that is going to keep the Achilles heel and everything's just going to crumble after that. That's not what I'm going to say. But I will say that is it. He's been a significant reason why you've been able to win these games. You've been in these games. And if you don't have that guy, you got Za'Darius and you got Double O, but even those two combined is not what Myles is. So you'll be missing a key piece on there. I mean, like I say, Jim Schwartz does a great job of getting these guys to get that pass rush. But listen, that man right there, it gets so much attention from offensive coordinators. He keep dudes up at night. Like you gotta come up with an extreme game plan just to stop him. If he's not out there, the playbook opens up even more. Like now, I don't have to worry about it. We don't have to even do a double team on that side. We could do a single block if these guys ain't winning. So you got to pray that guy's all right. Now, one thing I know about Myles, even when I listened to his post-game interview yesterday when I was doing a post game show for the Browns. You know, he said that if he got a heartbeat, he going out there. He don't care what they say. You know, whether they tell him, listen, if a doctor tell him the same news they told Deshaun, he said he didn't heard that before, and he gonna still go out there. Now, will he be effective? I don't know. You know, the thing about him last year when he was in the car accident, he wasn't the same guy, but he still was kind of effective. He still could get there, but it's just quite not the same. His presence on the field alone is still going to demand people to give him that attention and that respect. But I don't know if he's still going to be the same guy, whether or not, you know, if it's something serious or not. I don't know if he's going to still be the same. I mean, the guy was literally out there playing with one arm.
Listen, we always say be careful what you ask for or what you wish for. And a lot of people last year was throwing stuff on Myles Garrett plate. And for the most part, guys, this season, he's been, maligned for certain things. People talk about, oh, well, you're not at the OTAs, or, you know what I'm saying, the speeding incident, or not. It feels like he's taking plays off. All these different things, man. You're going to find out today and soon. If Myles Garrett is out, this is a completely different game plan. Yeah. Now you singling people up. Now you ain't got to slide one way. Both sides of the field is open, and in conjunction with the fact that Denzel Ward is no longer there or out there, maybe gone for a couple weeks, this is trouble in paradise. The Browns have been winning games because of the defense. They have not been winning games because of offense and coordinators. They have been winning games because of what Myles Garrett can do. He single-handedly won you the Colts game. If this dude is out, I understand what Chubb is out, and the run game is what it is. I understand Deshaun Watson going out, but we still win games after that. It might start to look like the wheels is falling off a little bit. And I don't want to see the sky falling, but it's just a different team if you snatch Myles Garrett off the end. It just is.
It is, but, like I said, this team is resilient. This team, even when we thought, they had no chance, they always found a way. Now, that guy right there, like I say, that's a different monster right there, man. He's literally jumping over special teams, blocking punts. It's just so many different ways that you could utilize him. I think the people that will miss him the most is the people on the back end. You ain't got to cover that long, and you've been kind of getting away with it. Don't get me wrong, our DBs is solid. Now, they got some great tight coverage, but that quarterback having to get rid of that ball, that extra 1 second, it's a huge difference. If you ain't been out there, you don't understand. One less second of having to cover somebody, that's all it takes. That route breaks down and they break the route and go up. Like, obviously, you ain't ready for that. That's a big-time play. But you don't never have to worry about that when you got 95 out there on that field, because it does a really good job of flushing the quarterback out or making the quarterback pull it down. Basically, the quarterback ain't looking down the field. That's the big thing. And now that he might not be there, that secondary, it's going to be some days where you're going to have to really earn some money.
Listen, we take a look at Myles Garrett, and obviously he's Defensive Player of the Year caliber player. He's been doing it all year. When you are Jim Schwartz, and we'll talk about this, it kind of transitions into what we were talking about before. How does this change your approach? The approach when the Browns are fully 100% stocked on defense, they love to jam you. They love to play close man-to-man coverage. And on top of that, they're going to use that and get upfield with Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith and those tackles. Love to get you on third downs and make sure they can put the pressure on you. How does this change what you do? Can they just simply go to a zone coverage team? Because to me, they don't play zone coverage that well, and they got some linebackers that aren't used to playing as well. Tony Fields was in there a lot. You see some of the special teams linebackers in there because of some injuries. Can they just pivot and just say we're going to run zone? Or how difficult is that as a DB when you went from going from playing man coverage to zone?
Well, I wouldn't tell them to play zone. Obviously, they played some zone last game, and that just that didn't look great. I think you gotta at least go with the strength. Obviously, if your D-line is not the strength anymore and it becomes your secondary, you got to ask them, like, listen, This is one of them games that y'all got to play man to man for 60, 70 snaps a game. I'm sorry. We can't, we might try to get y'all a couple of smoke breaks in there, run some cover two, but this is what it's got to be because no, seriously, because you got to have these guys tight on coverage because now you got to get coverage sacks. They become the strong part of your defense. Now you got to get coverage sacks instead of Myles just wrecking shop. You got guys that's gonna have to cover really tight enough that these quarterbacks think to hold the ball for another second, and hopefully that pass rush gets there. Without Myles Garrett, see with Myles on the field, this is what the difference between Myles and everybody else. Myles is a football player. Okay, Myles is if the playbook tells Myles to go outside and keep contained. Myles still has the freedom to say, you know what, I see something, so I'm going for it. And he probably 98% of the time, he probably gonna make that play. Without Myles, all you got is guys who's gonna go by. If the playbook tells me I need to go outside and keep contained, then I'm gonna go outside and keep contained. I don't care what I see on tape. I'm gonna make sure that I do this job of what the playbook says. So you lose the football player aspect and you get a robot out there. And that's fine. But if you want to go where the air is rare, you want to wreck shop and win games, you got to take risk out there. Like that's the thing. The bigger the risk, the bigger the check is what Future said. So you got to be able to take those risks. And I don't think those guys, they ain't got enough clout to be able to do that. And that's the big difference.
Yeah, listen, you hit it right there. I really don't believe that they got a lot of clout. You saw Alex Wright. Alex Wright got 2 offsides penalty. He's done for the year. That man is not going to be close to the line of scrimmage. He's not going to get a get off. He's like, you know what? All just aside, I'm going to just wait. They got to snap the ball, then I will go. That's a big part of making plays. See, it's a difference between guys being in a gap and guys making plays. And right now, Myles Garrett is a guy that is going to go off schedule, but at the end of the day, guess what he can do? That's Myles Garrett. He gets that off. And Jim Schwartz has always given his defensive ends ability to duck in, duck out. They don't necessarily have a contain on both sides of the field. So that's a huge part of it. And then just this factor. If I'm somebody on the team and I'm part of the other defensive line, Myles Garrett being out there gives me a certain little aura of like, oh, I'm nice too.
Yeah.
You ever come on, dog. If I go to the club and I'm with Usher,
you gonna feel like the man. We about to serenade. We about to be Casey and JoJo on these girls. You ain't about to serenade them by yourself. I'm jumping in.
I'm right. I'm over here. Like I'm with. You don't see the U-chain? Peace up, A-Town down here. Stop playing. When you got elite dudes, we used to call it the SEAL Team 6. When you got elite dudes of all nationalities out there, you got your dude that's looking like Thor, and you got Black Panther. Come on, you get whatever you want. You got Thor and Black Panther,
and then
you got Vibranium. Come on.
On top of that, G, like this man requires so much attention that I'm getting the ones. Like they not even worried about me. They so worried about him that it's making my job easy. That ain't gonna be the case no more.
No, they're looking right at you. They sliding you off, passing you off, double teaming you, getting all of your mix. And now and then here's going to start hearing this. And he's back there. He has all day to throw, and he finds a guy on the deep crossing route, and he's going to get 45 yards. What? No, we can't have that. I can't hear that no more.
That's the one right there. That's the one where
that deep crossing joint where they just keep running. He ran through 3 time zones, Tyvis, and caught a 65-yard pass. No, I can't see that. That's the Myles Garrett play. That's what
you get to that point. I mean, listen, at that point, it's like, all right, Jim, you just got to just dial up 6 every time. We gotta send 6. 4 ain't working, 5 ain't working. We gotta send 6.
Got to. And 6-man pressures, people don't be wanting to be in 6-man pressures like that. Because if you don't get home,
it's over with.
Or if you miss a tackle,
it's a wrap. That's 6 every time.
What is a wrap is this show is almost a wrap, man. Time flies when you have us to spend this time. Tyvis, we got a couple more minutes, but we gonna get into one more little conversation over here. We know Myles Garrett is out, but what about Denzel Ward? I found out a lot about this secondary by him being out. We'll talk about when we get back. It's G. Bush Tyvis on the UCSS network. Speaking of what you don't want to miss, Behind the Glass. Make sure y'all check out Behind the Glass. Earl, my man Mikey McNuggets, Anthony, they'll be up coming up. They got some nice stuff coming up for you. And you make sure you want to watch this, because the good thing about UCSS is when breaking news happens, we'll get out of here at about 4 o'clock. But if anything was to happen, guess what? Mikey McNuggets, Earl, Anthony, they're on deck. They make sure you get all the information, whether that's an injury with Myles Garrett, whether that's telling us whether or not DTR is going to start or Joe Flacco. They'll be there. Make sure you check out Behind the Glass. Usually it's on Wednesdays. Be looking for that. And as always, we give you diversity over here, difference of opinion. We'll get to some Cavs. They'll get to a lot of different breaking news. And obviously, they'll give you the top-notch coverage on the Cleveland Browns. With that being said, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, and so you know when Behind the Glass is popping. All right, Tyvis, we already talked about your Buckeyes loss. We already talked about, Myles Garrett and doing his thing. Let's get to your boy, because we talked about this a little bit last year. Denzel Ward didn't have his best year last year, but I think Denzel Ward this year has been locked down, lights out. You look at what he's been doing throughout the season. He's been stingy on some of the best guys out there. He's been sticky on top-notch names. DK Metcalfs of the world, Hollywood Browns of the world. He's been on the Bengals receivers. He's played a great year so far. Unfortunately, he was out last game. And I think you started to see what this defense lacks when you don't have Greg Newsome in the slot, Denzel Ward, and Martin Emerson. You could tell that the Browns were missing that. You could tell that the Browns were missing his coverage and just what he could do by taking a guy out. I thought Cortland Sutton was a little too big for Greg Newsome. And I think, to be truthful, Greg Newsome will probably tell you to a man right now, he's more suited and comfortable playing inside. His production is better. The lineup, the size is different. And I think he has excelled so far this year. But when you don't have Denzel Ward in there, I mean, how big of a drop-off is it when you don't have a guy, and especially when you're playing guys and you want to play man-to-man coverage?
Well, I mean, listen, the thing about G New is he's gotten accustomed to playing in the slot. That's become his thing. He plays outside, every now and again, but for the majority of the time, he's in the slot. And like I said, that's two totally different worlds. When you ask to go from playing slot to actually going outside.
Explain that a little bit to people, because this is like the nuance and the minutia that a lot of people won't get. They just say play slot. What is the difference between being a slot guy and an outside corner for the fans and the laymen's out there?
So if you're in the slot, I think you're more protected. It's a lot of traffic. If they run a route, they typically got to run through linebackers, all this action in there. So it's just totally different. When you're on the outside, it feels like it's nobody within 100 yards, in which it's just you and that guy. You can't really depend on anybody. Yeah, they tell you might get a linebacker in there that might be in a window and on your inside. But 98% of the time, that's not the case. So you got to be all over. It's so much space, and it's so many different routes that they can run to get open. And these guys is the top guys. These is the elite of the elite. So when you go outside, that's what I always say. If you got an outside corner that's a lockdown guy, you better keep him forever. And like I say, Denzel has progressed into being that guy. Like last year, he was up and down. I thought last year, even though it wasn't his best year, I still think he was just like a step off. I feel like he was still right there, but he just wasn't making the play. And obviously, I think it was some stuff going on with him. This year, he's been right where he needed to be, and he's been getting his hand on the ball. He's been coming up, making tackles. He does a whole entire lot, and like I say, G New, for a guy who, over the rumors said that he didn't want to play in the slot and he wanted to leave because of the slot. That boy became the man at the slot now. And it's just funny to see him, not excel well. Now, on the first PI, I thought his technique was good. I thought everything was good. He looked and leaned and he fell down. And when he fell down, he caused him to fall, and that's what led to the PI. I thought everything else was good though. Outside of that, it just seemed like he became the guy to go at for some odd reason. I don't really feel like MJ Emerson is getting targeted like that. But that guy, G New, for some odd reason, he just looked like the guy that offensive coordinator chose to go at.
Yeah, it just looked like from get-go, they was like, listen, we got you. Yeah, you don't even know it. We about to victimize you today. Also, sometimes it's a little bit of desire. We talked to Greg Newsom before, and you got to tag you in the run fit. When you in the slot, you in the run fit, dog.
Yeah.
You can't afford to miss no tackles. He missed a tackle against Pittsburgh Steelers. They took off. He missed a tackle yesterday where they quick hitch 10 yards. Like, how, when you got a guy in the corner in the slot, what is the take and giveaway, right? You want to get your best coverage guys on the field, but how much do they think about it in terms of whether or not putting that guy in the slot or versus coverage or tackling? And do they ever think about possibly putting a more safety type guy in at the slot, or is that giving up too much in the pass game?
That's giving up too much in the pass game. Now, if that safety is good at coverage, you could put him in that nickel spot. When I played for Dallas, me being a corner that went to safety, that went to corner, that went to safety, they were like, oh, you could go play nickel because we know you've already had experience of doing both. So if you got a guy like that, you can put him in that nickel spot. But make no mistakes about it. You got to be ready to come up and fit because you got some type of gap. I know he was talking about at the beginning of this year, like, it's like, yeah, the run fits is totally different this year. Like, I'm not really responsible for the runs. BS. If that ball break you, yes, you are. You better go shoot that gap and you better put your face in there. So I think that, they got to figure it out. I don't know. I guess Mike, I think the way it went was Mike Ford would come in and Mike Ford went to nickel and G New went outside. I mean, obviously for that one play, maybe that's the case. I don't know. But what happened to AJ Green? Like, that's a guy who played inside and outside. So
he's in the shadow realm or something. I don't know.
I think he got promoted for this game. So I was like, maybe he'd be the guy that they put in there because he got some experience. But I don't know. All I know is Denzel better find a way to get healthy. And all I also know is that boy MJ Emerson be having his side on lock because I don't see or hear from him a lot.
You don't see that at all. Like, listen, it looks like they don't even throw over there real talk. Like, they just knew where they was going to victimize and where they was going to go. With that being said, it's about almost about to be 4:00. We have not heard any more updates from Myles Garrett. The last we heard, his arm was still in a sling. He's still not, that he went. We know he's getting an MRI. The Browns are going to stay on the West Coast and get ready to play the Rams. Tyvis, I would wager it might be a long shot for him to play. I mean, I don't remember players getting hearing pops or different things like that and just come back and play. Yeah. I don't think, I don't think it's a game where he's going to be able to play. And it might be a couple of weeks. My guess is, what do you think about, look, hey, Myles Garrett don't play. Maybe you could steal one and out there with the Rams in LA. You come back home and maybe you can get possibly one or other Denzel Ward or Myles Garrett back. What are your thoughts on kind of weathering the storm? And do you think the Browns can potentially still continue to make a playoff push if Myles Garrett isn't gone for the year, but he's out for the next 3 to 4 games?
Yeah, they can still make a playoff push, but like I say, it's going to come heavily deep onto that secondary. They have to get it done now, and Denzel has to figure out a way to get back on their field. I know he's got a shoulder injury. If his legs is good, he's good enough to go out there. So he's got to figure out. He's got to make a big boy decision to get out there because these next few games they're going to need him. The Rams, obviously they got Puka, they got Cooper Kupp. That you're gonna need some cover guys out there to get this thing done, especially if Myles isn't there. That's the only way you're gonna be able to help that defensive line still be productive and get some sacks because these guys are still good. Zadarius is still good. Double O is really still good. So you still got some playmakers there, but they're gonna need some guys that's sticky on coverage. That's gonna make that quarterback second guess himself. That's gonna buy him that extra second to get there.
Really quickly, Quadir Richard says, "Where's Godwin? He's still in concussion protocol as well." We want to put this out there as well. DTR did sustain a concussion. We don't know what's going on with him in terms of whether or not he's going to be available. It's a quick turnaround. Like for him to be able to come back out and play on and say pass concussion protocol on Wednesday, get all the reps on Thursday, and be ready to play is a long shot. What are your thoughts on Joe Flacco, and what are your thoughts on DTR moving forward?
Well, obviously, if DTR is able to clear a protocol, he'd be the guy that's gonna go out there. If not, I think Joe Flacco is the guy that they get ready and put him out there because Joe doesn't turn the ball over, and Joe has seen every defense. It's just about him getting back in the game shape and understanding how the movement of the game, the momentum, the flow of the game. If he gets that, he can make all the throws still because he beat us last year. So I think Joe Flacco is the guy that you go with. PJ Walker, he was in there for what, a quarter, 2 quarters, and he had 2 fumbles. One of them was a turnover. That obviously you
I'm
can't
cool
do
on
that.
that.
You can't do that right now, given the circumstances that your offense and your whole entire team is with injuries. You have to take care of the football.
Yeah, at this point, he's a walking, like you can't be loose like that with the Rock. Like he gets in and he's good for 2 or 3. He's good for 2.
Gee, he had 2 fumbles. I was like, my Lord.
Already? Like already? Like this is crazy, bro. You just got here, bro.
That's
This
like
is
rule number 1. That's rule number 1. Take care of the ball.
Take care of the Rock, man. But with that being said, man, we took care of this show. Shout out to Tyrus. Thank you so much for coming on. I think the fans really appreciate you. Just to say, if you guys, I don't think any other stations or places have the wealth of knowledge that we got just for somebody who's played in the league, played in the game, to be able to come and break down different stuff like this. Coach Tyvis is one of my favorite segments, and just to be able to rap with the fans and be able to rap with you about football is dope, man. You do a great job of breaking down. Hey, show Tyvis some love. If you want him to come back on the show, we would love to have him anytime, and we'll even pay for the date. I love connection. We love it. Hey, if you want to come back, we even pay for the day. Tyvis, I appreciate you. Put a 1 in the chat if you appreciate Tyvis, and we'll definitely have him back on and show him some love, man.
Appreciate you, man. Always. Anytime for you, man. You OG.
Hey, listen, man. Listen. We gonna listen. Don't tempt me. I'll be at the top of the year coming. I'll be like, listen, we need Tyvis on here. Stop playing with me.
Only one call away, bro. Only one call away.
The ones is piling in. All right, Tyvis, we appreciate you. With that being said, thank you for watching the Barbershop. As always, you don't know when G Bush is gonna pull up. I might be everywhere, but the one thing you can do is listen for the Clippers. We'll talk. Not so fast, my friend. You know what I told you. I said if we get some breaking news, I don't know if this is true. We can verify this. Let's see if we can verify. Let me pull this down. Let me hide this. Let me remove that. Let me go to Twitter. You thought I was playing around when I said we will verify that and we'll figure out what's going on. This is according to. Let me make sure it's true. Because we'll do a little overtime for y'all boys. Let me see. Let me find out Myles Garrett. What's going on? Let me see. Come on now. Let's see. We're going to figure this out. All right, that's trending. Here we go. And we break the news here first on Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. We do what we can do. This is it's by a couple of people. This is according to Mary Kay Cabot. This is just breaking. Kevin Stefanski feels good about where Myles Garrett is with his shoulder. He should be good to go Sunday versus the Rams. That's crazy. He said Mary Kay also has said that Kevin Stefanski said Myles Garrett is sore with his shoulder injury and is day to day. Cameron Justice also has an injury report from News Channel 5. She says Kevin Stefanski said Amari Cooper with the rib injury, Jordan Elliott with the ankle injury, Myles Garrett with a sore shoulder, all expected to be okay, considered day-to-day. DTR will be monitored through the concussion protocol. So you heard it here. You heard it here first. I don't break much news. We was on the barbershop ready to go, but we day-to-day with the shoulder soreness, man. So good news. Good news for the Browns. Great news, for Myles Garrett and what was going on. Because I tell you what, we would have been up the creek without a paddle, given the circumstances. But if you're a Browns fan right now, if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, and I don't know, give me a second here. I'm gonna try to get a couple of people on to give their opinion about that. Give me a second here. Let's see if we can get. Okay, let's see if we can get Mikey McNuggets on here real quick. We'll talk about it. He made me say he want to pull up, but this is great. This is great. Huge news for the Cleveland Browns. It was doom and gloom, but it looks like there's a lot of guys who actually are going to be able to play. That may look like they're going to play. All right, so let me just throw this out there. Okay. All right. So this is huge. Rob Brown says that's great. I really hope Myles Garrett will be good to go against the Rams. Good to go, Kool-Aid all around. Thank you. Of course, there's Kool-Aid all around. Kool-Aid all around. This is big news for the Cleveland Browns because me and Tyvis just talked about it a little bit ago. Myles Garrett makes this team different. And one of the things that I didn't want to happen was I didn't want to get to a situation where you start to lose people through attrition. And the Browns have done a good enough job of making sure that they got a 3 or 4 game cushion. They were 7-3 going into the game. They lose the game and making sure that they take the L to the Broncos. But here's the thing. You don't want to keep giving games back. And one of the things that can happen is when you got always Denzel Ward out, Myles Garrett is out, Anthony Walker is out, the best part of what your defense could be on the sidelines. And for regular players and for guys who are guys that you plug and play or platoon guys or second team guys, this is a huge news for them because now the best part of what your defense is still intact in Myles Garrett. And now you go into a Rams game where you're thinking it might be an uphill battle. You not only get Amari Cooper, you not only get Myles Garrett back, but they're monitoring DTR. And who looked like he was playing a good ball game. So that's all big. Those are all huge wins for the Cleveland Browns. Huge wins, man. Armac Dog says Kevin Stefanski committed coaching malpractice and should be benched or suspended for play callings for a game and fined a full paycheck. I hope listen. And if DTR, here's the thing too. If DTR is able to come back and play, you got to understand something here. DTR is able to come back and play. You got to protect the kid. I know you want to throw the ball all over the park, but you still got to run the ball. You still got to run the ball, especially with those tackles. You can't put him out there to harm's way. Gonna dress up like the Kool-Aid man for the game. Let's go. All right, man. Let's get to some more of your comments. Yeah, we still in the barbershop. Yep. Let's throw this out here. I'm gonna send Mikey McNuggets. Let me go ahead and send him in a little y'all gonna get a little overtime from us today. Y'all lucky. You got Tyvis, you got G Bush in the barbershop. You might get Mikey McNuggets. Listen, we go hard out here, man. We go hard out there. Yes, sir. Great news. Awesome news. There we go. Boom. Great news right now. We'll see if we can pull them up, and we'll do a little recap of this. If you just now tuned in, just now pulled up, this is breaking news here on UCSS. Breaking news here on UCSS. Stay calm. Defensive Player of the Year candidate and superstar defensive end Myles Garrett is okay and is listed day to day after undergoing an MRI on Monday on his left shoulder. This is confirmed by Jake Trotter. Jake Trotter said Stefanski seems more than optimistic that the Browns will be able to, that Myles Garrett will be able to play Sunday against the Rams. Scans revealed no structural damage in the shoulder. This is also by Ian Rappaport as well. Pro Bowl defensive end Myles Garrett, who left Sunday's game with a shoulder in a sling, checked out okay today, sources say. He was described as sore, but day to day. And then this is also from Cameron Justice, which I thought was really good news as well. Not only looks like Myles Garrett can be able to play, or is lined up to possibly play. Cameron Justice is reporting Kevin Stefanski said Amari Cooper with the rib injury, Jordan Elliott with the ankle injury, and Myles Garrett with the shoulder are all expected to be okay, considered day to day. Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be monitored through the concussion protocol. So that's your news. That's your news there. That is your news there. Let's see. We got to just wait for some days to see if it's really a sore shoulder, because the injuries can be tricky. Look what happened to quarterback one. Hey, listen. Hey, you're right. We got to still make it to game day, but all things look like they're pretty dope. Could be worse. I feel like we should be fine against the Rams, but I feel like we desperately need Ward back, especially against Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. That scares me a little bit. Cooper Kupp is battling injuries as well. As well. Let's see. Let's get a couple more of these before we get out here. Mikey McNuggets will not be on today, but look out for Behind the Glass or any other breaking news that comes on. So make sure you can get to that. Leaning towards the Njoku creepy mask for you guys are crazy. Josh Foster, finally some good news. It was looking scary. Taking that hit was on Dorian. He was catching his stride up until that point. I thought he was playing well too. He just needs to learn to get down a little bit. Sometimes you need to learn to fight another day, right? Karen Phillips, what's up? G. Bush, I believe we could beat LA if Coach Stefanski acts right. Go Browns, of course, always, man. Like I think the Browns could beat anybody on the schedule, and that's one of the things that you're going to be able to see if they have their guys ready to go. I think the game plan needs to adjust a little bit, but I'm feeling much more confident and better about the Rams game now that we have this news. And Reese Holders, kind of feels like Myles had this lingering shoulder injury for a while now, and it gets fatigued every now and again. I've noticed maybe 4 to 5 games this exact thing happened to his shoulder, and he's had these little nagging injuries and stuff. And one of those things is, people tell you about your shoulders and your body, you never really quite know how you're going to react to them. You're always going to have these injuries, but the best thing that I like to see about it is there's no structural damage. Not to say Myles is going to be 100%. Not to say that he's going to go out there and get 6 sacks, but he is really tough, though. He is really tough, man. 3,000 Kool-Aid Mafia in LA. I appreciate you out there, man, as well. And I appreciate everybody sticking around with me so we can break this breaking news, man. Malikster says, appreciate you always keeping it real, G. As always, man. I'll stop that. I'll stop that in a heartbeat. Myles will not let this team give up on each other. He's leading by example, and he's just really not human. It's G, can you give times when is your show? Oh yeah, my show. Come on, it'll be at 3:00 on Thursday. So if you're watching right now, if you want to watch live, some of you catch this show throughout the day, or whether or not I put my clips up. The clips of this show will be up on tomorrow and Wednesday, so you can check that out. And I'll be back Thursday giving you a preview of the Rams game with the Cleveland Browns. So that's 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern on Mondays and Thursdays. Last week was a little wonky because of the holiday, but we're back on schedule Monday and Thursdays. Behind the Glass is usually on Wednesday. So make sure you keep that locked and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when I am coming on. As always, with that being said, I appreciate you guys. Any word on Myles' injury? Yes. One final update on Myles Garrett. Structurally, no damage. Looks like he is day-to-day with some soreness. He looks like he's going to be a possibility of playing here for the Rams, but good news for the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett looks like he's going to be up, ready to go, possibly for the Rams game. We don't know if he's going to play for sure, but it's listed as day-to-day. With that being said, I appreciate everybody that stuck around for a little bit of overtime. With that being said, you never know when G. Bush might pop back up. I'll stop my intro again if some other news pop up. But until then, we'll catch you on the other side. Peace.